Hey guys, it's RodimusPrimal. I am back in another video, and today I have for you the Studio Series 86 Arcee. And we've been waiting for a decent G1 styled Arcee figure for quite some time. I know that they have released quite a bunch of different figures at quite a bit over the years, and now we've seen a lot of them within the last, I want to say, 2 or 3 years. And now we've got this Studio Series 86 version, and the packaging art looks phenomenal. I really love the box art there, with her there on the side as well. And man, if I can get a full-scale version of this artwork, it would be amazing. And of course, it's big screen inspired. Says when the Decepticons launch their attack, Arcee transforms Autobot City. And what we can obviously see here from the figure standing before you, that she's standing at the backdrop of Autobot City as it's under attack, which is being used for a couple of different figures by now. But we're going to get further into this, so without further ado, let's sit back, relax, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and let's transform and roll out. So, getting a good look at Arcee here, you can see she is a complete retool of the Thrilling 30 / Dakara Legends Arcee. So what they've basically done is they reused the hood of the car, the front of the whole front of the car. I believe it's the same head sculpt, or it's a similar sculpting for her head. And I believe the upper portion of her arms, where it's new lower forearm, new forearms, new lower body completely. And they even gave her a little bit more with the whole backpack in order to work with her transformation. And we'll talk about that quite a bit, because the thing is that Arcee is one of those characters. It's like, how do you nail that G1 design and give us the figure that you want? So when you take a look here at the animation model, standing next to this, how does it compare? And proportionately, for the most part, it does work really well. There are a few different things here that I think kind of hamper this figure a little bit, but when I get into the comparison, I want to talk about how they've changed certain things with the figure. So first and foremost, I like the fact that her, lower portion here now looks closer to the animation model. But like many figures nowadays, it's unpainted here. So it feels missing pink here, gray on the sides to go all the way around, and just certain things and aspects of her, you're like, okay, that doesn't necessarily work. They did retool her hands, which allow her to hold her blaster. And her blaster accessory, when she holds it, she's able to hold it completely, able to aim it just like she did in the movie. The one thing I do wish that she had from the movie itself, just like Hot Rod, would have been the glasses. Because getting a closer look at her face sculpt here, it looks like I've got a little bit of damage there. I don't know if that was right out of the packaging for right around her nose. But, other than that, she is a great looking figure. I do like it, but there's a problem. And she has this ab crunch for posability, but the ab crunch itself, which is part of the transformation, comes apart really easy, and it kind of comes apart quite a bit, and you got to be very careful when you're trying to pose her. She does have ankle tilt, and she can bend her legs just about. See, I can already show you guys that that torso not connecting doesn't quite work very well. But when you're trying to bend her legs, they only go about that far. You can bend them back, which is a little bit hampered by the backpack itself. So if you want to see how far they can tilt, it's like they can tilt all the way back, but they made it so they can't tilt all the way forward. And she can't really do the Van Dammes like you'd expect. She would have to spread it out a little bit. And there's a lot of waffling here. I don't necessarily like the waffling in the inner part of her thighs. She also has that issue with her calves, and it's very noticeable. And the reason why it's more noticeable than before is probably because of the proportions. The proportions on these legs are very thin. It makes her look like she needs to not skip leg day. And if you've seen the Cybertronic Spree and the way that their Arcee performs, I don't think she skips leg day, because she's doing kicks and bouncing around and jumping up and down, on stage. As you can see, they are a phenomenal band to see live. But this backpack in particular, like I said, this portion here was the same as the Thrilling 30 mold, and this is a new tooling. And I do like the figure. I really do like the figure quite a bit, and especially when you compare her to her previous figure, which this here is the Earthrise figure that I customized, and I've had a lot of play with, allowing my kids to play with this particular figure, so she's gotten a lot of wear and tear, and it's only been like 2 years, so you can already see like the scuff marks, all over this figure that just really hamper it from all of the, the play that she's had. But the customize and work, was trying to make her look better, but it only worked so far. And the other thing is that this is the back end of her car, and the front end of her car is over here, and I purposefully didn't disconnect it, just so you can see how they were able to handle it better on this figure, where it's a lot more sleek. And then you have I don't have the Thrilling 30 figure, but I do have Takara Legends, which this figure in particular is where they got the molding detail for the front of the figure. So looking at both of them side by side, this is where you're able to see exactly what I'm talking about, how they changed it. How she's able to hold her gun is a lot better, and because they retooled the hands. But the Thrilling 30 mold had like these, the way the proportions were much more human and less animation accurate. But the thing with this figure is that the waist is a little on the thin side, it doesn't hold together, and the legs are very thin. These legs, because of the transformation, or the way this particular figure transforms, is able to achieve a little bit more, and, not completely, but it seems that they borrowed a lot from this to give us this. And I do wish this was painted a little bit more. I love the look. I actually like the pale pink a little bit better. And when I showed my kids, all three figures side by side, they all said the same thing, including my wife, that the Studio Series 86 figure just overall looks better, especially compared to this one. And I also wanted to show her next to the Transformers Prime Legacy figure with Jackpot's crossbow, which I think really works for this character. But my daughter, when I showed her this blue motorcycle character, she looked at me and said, "My favorite color is pink, so that's not Arcee. Arcee is pink. She can't be blue." That was my daughter. So I said to her, okay, so maybe we can name her something else. And she's trying to come up with a name, and she's not very good at necessarily naming a Transformer, but maybe we can come up with one if the Transformers Prime character isn't necessarily Arcee. I always thought it was like a newer version of Chromia myself, personally. I wanted to show Lifeline next to this Arcee for a couple of different reasons. And the reason why is because since I customized that Arcee, you couldn't see what I did to this figure to try and make it as good of a paint job as this. And that's because they didn't paint the backside of the poor character. So, and that was with both figures, and I painted that Arcee, and I decided not to customize Lifeline for that exact reason. So there the two of them are with this Arcee. And just giving you guys a quick look at Arcee along with some of her 86 cast alongside Optimus Prime as well, so you can see how well she scales with each and every one of them all together. Something else I want to make mention of is the fact that if you notice here on the legs of the Thrilling 30 / Takara Legends Arcee, is that her blaster does have a peg hole to allow you to place the weapon, but it doesn't allow you to place anything else, and it can fall out quite easily. The other thing was that she was supposed to have weapon storage up here, which is why this is molded in here. I wish that they had retooled that out of this in particular, and maybe we might see a fill kit with that figure. The other thing is that this figure is not designed to do so. I mean, first and foremost, her blaster can store on a 5mm peg that they placed on her leg. But so we're going to place that there. And that actually stores a lot better. But this, you know, the Kingdom / Earthrise figure is able to remove the backpack. And so I'm going to, you know, press on this here and pull that out so you can see what the figure looks like without the backpack. And it looks okay, but let's just be real here. It could have been a little bit better. And then you're left with this very large chunk of a piece that you're like, I can't use that. But you can do the same with this figure. It's not designed to. There is a you know, friction connector, the way that this whole piece comes out, and you can pull on it and pull the entire assembly out of here. And I'm just going to do that right now, like so. And you can see that this is where it pops out. So you still have the molded detailing of the interior of the car, but this piece does come out. And because her chest is part of the transformation, it kind of like doesn't not so much it hinders it, but it allows you to place it in, you know, it kind of like hangs off the back quite a bit. But to be honest with you, she looks nice without it. But personally, I would prefer keeping it intact just so that she doesn't, you know, I don't have to like go looking for it, you know, in the future. I also like the fact that the way that they handled the ankle tilt on her legs, because it allows her to stand up a little bit better. The one thing with this figure is because the way that it was back heavy and the pegs kind of stuck out, and you can already see she falls over, and that was because I had clipped the back of those legs, and that is the reason why you know, this particular figure had those big feet. This one at least handles it with, you know, a lot more grace by giving us, you know, the parts that stick out this way. Still, it's a major issue with the waist, and I've been told that some people, you know, if you put some like nail polish or some like white paint here, that would make this stick better. But if any of you have this particular figure, I would like to see that done. I would also like to see if anybody who does the fill kits can do something about thickening those legs, giving us calves. And I really wish that her legs were a little bit more posable. Because the one thing about this particular figure is that, you know, let's say if I wanted to have her like, kind of like get down so she can, you know, pick something up or whatever, and, you know, or kind of like duck so she's not getting blasted at. You know, I know that this figure had its limitations and they could have improved upon it, but the way that these these three figures can, you know, kneel down if they needed to, it's not something that each of them have. So when you take a look at this figure, she can quite literally get down like so. And that's a limitation that this new figure has that I wish that it had. And it could be easy enough, maybe, if somebody's able to like give us something better for the joint here, so that she has just a little bit mobility than she had before. Because if you were looking to improve upon this, that would have been the place to do so, is to give us a little bit more posability than she had. I mean, granted, we have ankle tilt, but, you know, it's just a minor gripe, I think, because it depends upon how you're going to have Arcee, you know, display. Are you going to have her, like, shooting it at Decepticons, or are you going to have her fist-fighting Decepticons? That's really what it boils down to. And moving on to her transformation, this transformation is actually done really well because, you know, the main issue with the Kingdom Earthrise figure is that she doesn't actually transform, whereas the Thrilling 30 Takara Legends mold actually does. This one, in my opinion, does the transformation a little bit better. So what you're going to do is you're going to separate the waist here, pull up the entire shoulder assembly and chest, and we're going to get head up like so. So I'm just going to move on to the transformation. See there, the hood of the car transforms there. I wish that was painted. Then the arms do something quite interesting. The Thrilling 30 mold, they fold it upward in order for their transformation. Here, it comes up, so it goes underneath the headlights. So it does actually go somewhere. Then this portion here, when it comes apart, you unfold the fenders, fold out this part of the car, and then this whole section folds up just like so. Take a look at this. The car itself does have a rear section with a place for taillights. And it comes up like so. It does kind of basically turns the whole backpack into her car. But this is G1 Arcee that we're talking about. It's how she transforms. And so I'm just going to get that like so. Then we're going to turn the waist around. Fold the legs in. Actually, no. Yeah, it's a good legs go this way. And like so. The actual portions that stick out are part of the transformation because this folds down like so, and there is a section right here where that pegs in, and then we're just going to close this up here, and we are complete with the transformation. She does have weapon storage, which goes right here, and if you get that in just right, it'll stay and it won't come out at all. I know for some people this doesn't stay in very well, but if you are able to get it in, it does stay for the most part. So then when she is in car mode, this is a wonderful looking update to the car mode. It actually takes the car that we had before and gives us a good rolling vehicle. She's just lacking paint applications. To me, that is the one thing that this figure lacks in as far as the look. You know, if we had the white stripe here, just take a look at the animation model. There is the animation model for the car, and then like take a look at this car in particular, and you can see that she could have a little bit of detailing here. Maybe if they gave us a bumper to cover the back of her legs, you know, and then the white stripe to go alongside here. And maybe the detailing in the interior of the car would be nice. And then, of course, the gray on the front grille of her car as well. Other than that, she looks great. I think this is probably the best that we're going to get for a while. You know, maybe they might do another release of an Arcee figure, because they've been releasing a lot of Arcee figures lately. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something in Earthspark. I know that we saw something in Cyberverse, and then we had Masterpiece, we had Earthrise / Kingdom. I mean, then, you know, so there's so many Arcee figures that have been coming out within the last few years, but just looking at this car, I think this captures the G1 Arcee figure, G1 Arcee character quite well. My main gripe in car mode is the spots here in the back and here at the top. That's my main gripe. You can see her robot shoulders. But it doesn't really bother me as much as it does some people. Maybe just because we've waited so long to get a good Arcee. And, I mean, mind you, this one could be better. But when you're comparing something like this, yeah, oh man, look at all the work that I had to do in order to get this to look just decent enough. You know, with the gray paint there in the front, the white on the back, and giving her her own taillights, but she's still where this is fully transformed. And, you know, of course, having weapon storage there, this works just as fine. But when you compare her to the Takara Legends version, you know, here, this is, like I said before, this is the Thrilling 30 mold just done in Takara Legends colors, so it's more G1 accurate. I like the pale pink. I do like the detailing that they have completed with this particular version of the car, and you can see all of the differences comparing the two, whereas like this is just incomplete in paint application, and this does have a steering wheel molded right there, so it's like a separate piece for the steering wheel. You know, Takara went above and beyond to make sure that the car looked nice, but you can tell that this is robot legs, you know, whereas here the robot legs are folded underneath and it looks perfectly fine. This, not a fan of this at all. I think this improves upon this in every way except for paint applications. And so if we're able to get this with all of these extra detailings for her in car mode, I think this would probably take it in car mode. And might as well actually compare her to the Transformers Prime Arcee, which, and if we were to do a size comparison with some of her other fellow Autobots, you got Blur and Hot Rod and Springer, all there. So that includes the 1986 cast in addition to Optimus Prime in truck mode. Now overall, I really do like Studio Series 86 Arcee. It is quite an improvement over the previous figure, or the Earthrise Kingdom, and the retooling does give us a much better car when it comes down to it from the Thrilling 30 / Takara Legends figure. Some of the waffling is a little bit of an issue, and the backpack might have been able to be handled a little bit better, and I wonder if there is a way to fix that weird waist. However, again, I still think this figure is really good, and it's definitely worth getting into your collection. She poses really well with other Transformers figures out there, and if you don't already have a G1 Arcee, it is definitely worth adding to your collection. But I want to know what you guys think of Studio Series 86 Arcee. Of course, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe. Check out my other videos as well. I have many more Transformers discussions, retrospectives, news, and more coming down the pipeline, so stay tuned for all of that. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.